Most people reveal too much too early. They speak before the structure is ready. They explain before the move is secure. They announce before the result exists. And then they wonder why resistance appears, why people interfere, why energy changes, why support disappears, why quiet sabotage suddenly enters the room. But this is one of the oldest laws of power. The moment you reveal your full intentions, you create a target. And once a target exists, people begin to aim. That is why the powerful rarely show their full hand, not because they are dishonest by nature, but because they understand human nature. People do not simply react to what you do. They react to what your success might mean for them. Your progress can trigger envy. Your clarity can trigger insecurity. Your ambition can trigger competition. Your discipline can trigger silent hostility. And your plan, once visible, can become something others try to slow down, redirect, weaken, copy, or destroy. Most people are naive about this. They think transparency always creates trust. They think if they share their full vision, people will admire it, support it, protect it, celebrate it. Sometimes they will, but often they will do something else. They will study it, measure it, compare themselves against it. And once comparison begins, hidden motives begin with it. That is why strategy requires concealment, not theatrical secrecy, not paranoia, not manipulation for its own sake. Concealment simply means this: do not expose the full structure of your move before the move can survive exposure. That principle alone will save you from countless forms of friction. Because once people know exactly what you want, they know exactly where to apply pressure. If they know what outcome matters to you, they know where you are vulnerable. If they know what you fear losing, they know what can control you. If they know what timeline you are on, they know how to delay you. If they know what recognition you seek, they know how to withhold it. And if they know where you are going before you arrive, they have time to prepare a response. Time is one of the hidden weapons of opposition. The more time your enemies have, the less surprise you keep. And surprise is one of the sharpest tools in power. That is something weak people misunderstand. They think strength is loud. They think power has to be visible. They think if a plan is good, it should be announced immediately. But the intelligent person knows that visibility creates friction. The more people see, the more people touch. The more people touch, the more distortion enters. Soon the original move no longer belongs to you. It is now surrounded by opinion, prediction, expectation, interference. That is why one of the cleanest forms of strength is quiet construction. Build first, reveal later, move first, explain later, secure the position, then speak. This is not just about ambition. It applies everywhere, in business, in relationships, in negotiation, in office politics, in creative work, in leadership, in reinvention, in any situation where the unfinished version of your plan is still fragile. Fragile things need protection, and early exposure is often a form of damage. People ruin their own momentum because they crave the emotional reward of being seen planning something important. They want the reaction. They want people to say, "That's smart, that's big, that's impressive, you're going places." But that praise often becomes a trap, because the dopamine of being recognized for the plan can replace the discipline of actually completing it. Now you have emotional satisfaction without real achievement, and that weakens execution. This is one reason many people talk more than they build. Talking gives them the feeling of motion, but motion is not progress. And being understood is not the same as being effective. In fact, the more serious the move, the more silence it usually requires. Machiavelli understood something brutal and timeless. Men are not only moved by logic, they are moved by self-interest, fear, vanity, envy, and perception. So the wise man does not place his future in the open hands of unstable human emotion. He advances with discipline. He reveals with timing. He understands that information is not neutral. Information changes behavior. The moment people know more, they behave differently. Some become supportive, some become competitive, some become suspicious, some become passive-aggressive, some become fake, some become careful around you, some become too interested, some begin to smile while quietly calculating. And this is the real point. A hidden intention remains free. A revealed intention enters politics. Once others know enough, your move is no longer moving through empty space. It is moving through human reaction. And human reaction is one of the messiest environments in the world. That is why powerful people often appear harder to read than average people. Average people display their inner world constantly. They show what they want, what they fear, what they need, what they are trying to become, and what they hope others will approve of. But powerful people understand that readability creates leverage for others. The more readable you are, the easier it is to predict you. The easier it is to predict you, the easier it is to shape your path. And once others can shape your path, some part of your power belongs to them. Never revealing your full intentions does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming difficult to obstruct. It means not giving unfinished plans to unstable hands. It means refusing to make yourself strategically convenient for other people. Most sabotage does not begin with open attack. It begins with access. Too much access. Too much explanation. Too much visibility. Too much confidence in people who have not proven they can carry the weight of your direction. This is why the intelligent person learns to speak in layers, enough to remain socially smooth, enough to remain trustworthy, enough to avoid unnecessary suspicion, but never so much that the core of the move becomes exposed before it is ready. There is a difference between being authentic and being fully available. Weak people confuse the two. They think authenticity means total disclosure. But disclosure is not honesty. Often it is lack of discipline. You do not owe full access to everyone who asks. You do not owe your whole strategy to curious minds. You do not owe the blueprint of your future to people who are entertained by it, but not invested in protecting it. And that is where real maturity begins. When you stop treating your plans like public property. When you stop speaking as if every listener deserves entry. When you understand that a plan spoken too early can die in the mouth before it ever reaches the world. The people with real power know this. That is why they often seem calm, measured, and slightly opaque. Not fake, not empty, not guarded out of fear, just precise. They understand that the less the world knows too early, the more freedom they keep while building. And freedom, while building, is priceless. Because once a move is real, you no longer need secrecy. Reality becomes the proof. But before the move is real, silence is often the shield. And the shield matters. Because what is still becoming should not be exposed like it is already finished. Think about how many people destroy their own leverage by announcing what they intend to do. They tell everyone they are leaving. So pressure begins before the exit is ready. They tell everyone they are building something new. So opinions arrive before the foundation is built. They tell everyone what they are planning in love, in business, in career, in reinvention. And before the move has strength, It is already carrying the weight of outside eyes. That weight changes people. When others know what you want, they may begin testing how badly you want it. They may delay, withhold, distract, compete, mirror your language, pretend support while collecting information. And none of this requires them to be evil. It only requires them to be human. Human beings react to power shifts. The moment your intentions imply a future where your position changes, the social field changes with it. This is why hidden ambition is often safer than declared ambition. Declared ambition activates response. Hidden ambition preserves initiative. Initiative matters more than most people realize. The person who controls timing controls much of the outcome. And once you reveal too much, timing is no longer entirely yours, or weaken you simply by making you emotionally manage their reactions. This is another hidden cost of revealing too much. You stop building the move and start managing the audience. That is fatal, because audiences are unstable. Their approval changes, their moods shift, their loyalty is often shallow. And if your energy becomes tied to how the audience feels about your plan, your discipline becomes vulnerable. Power requires separation from that instability. The powerful person does not build in public dependence. He may appear open, he may appear social, he may appear clear, but the center of the move remains protected. That center is where decisions are made without noise, where direction remains uncorrupted, where the next step is formed before the world has a chance to interfere with it. Most people have no protected center. Everything becomes conversation. Everything becomes disclosure. Everything becomes emotional sharing. And because everything is open, everything becomes weak. The unfinished idea gets contaminated. The fresh direction gets doubted. The fragile momentum gets touched by people who have never built anything themselves. And slowly the person loses faith in his own path. Not because the path was wrong, but because too many voices entered before the structure could hold them. This is why silence is not just protection from enemies. It is protection from confusion. Sometimes the danger is not sabotage. It is dilution. Too many opinions, too many perspectives, too many reactions, too early. By the time the person returns to his original intention, it no longer feels sharp. It feels softened by other people's thinking, and softened intentions rarely survive. Clear intentions do. But clarity requires privacy. A blade stays sharp because it is not constantly handled. The same is true of serious plans. There is also a more strategic reason for concealment. When people cannot fully read your intentions, they cannot fully prepare against them. Uncertainty creates hesitation, and hesitation creates advantage. If others know exactly where you are headed, they can block the road. If they only see fragments, they are forced to guess, and people make mistakes when they guess. This is true in negotiation. The side that reveals urgency first loses leverage. The side that reveals need too clearly invites pressure. The side that shows exactly what outcome matters most becomes easier to squeeze. But the side that remains composed and strategically incomplete keeps room to maneuver. Room to maneuver is power. That is why mystery, used correctly, is not a gimmick. It is protection of strategic freedom. Freedom to change pace. Freedom to shift direction. Freedom to choose the moment of disclosure. Freedom to surprise. And surprise still matters, even in ordinary life. The unexpected move creates disproportionate force, a quiet person suddenly rising, a dismissed person suddenly leaving, a patient person suddenly securing the position, a builder suddenly revealing the finished structure. These moments carry weight because no one had time to weaken them before they became real. That is the principle. Do not hand people the unfinished version of what they would oppose if it were finished. Build beyond the point where resistance can easily stop you. Then reveal. Too many people reverse that order. They reveal first and build second. And the result is predictable. The world gets involved too early. They become self-conscious. They become defensive. They become performative. They start wondering how the move looks instead of whether the move is strong. And once image replaces structure, decline begins. Machiavelli was ruthless about appearances, but he was never naive about exposure. He understood that people should often see what is useful for them to see, not everything that is true inside your strategy. Because truth without timing is weakness, and full disclosure without necessity is often self-harm. There is a difference between lying and guarding the core. The immature person thinks every concealed intention is deception. The mature person understands sequence. First, the structure, then the revelation. First, the move, then the explanation. First, the result, then the narrative. This sequence protects your energy. It protects your leverage. It protects your confidence. Most importantly, it protects your independence from unnecessary reaction. Because once you become too visible too early, you begin living inside other people's expectations, and expectations are chains. Some people expect you to fail, some expect you to stay small, some expect your loyalty to old roles, some expect you to remain predictable, so they can remain comfortable. The moment you reveal a serious shift, those expectations push back, not always openly, often through subtle pressure. Questions that sound innocent, doubts disguised as concern, humor used to reduce seriousness, advice that weakens ambition, invitations back into old patterns. None of this looks dramatic. That is why so many people miss it. But it is real. And it can drain momentum from a move that was powerful in silence. This is why one of the strongest disciplines in life is learning who deserves partial truth, who deserves operational truth, and who deserves the finished result only after it exists. Not everyone belongs in every layer. Not everyone can handle proximity to your next chapter. Not everyone can stand near a rising version of you without trying to pull something back to the old balance. And when you finally understand that, your strategy changes. You stop confusing access with intimacy. You stop confusing curiosity with loyalty. You stop confusing encouragement with alignment, and you begin protecting the inner room where your future is being built. That room should stay clean. No noise, no unnecessary eyes, no emotional spectators, no casual intrusion. Because the cleaner that room remains, the stronger the move will become before the world ever sees it. So how do you actually apply this? Not by becoming paranoid, not by speaking in riddles, not by turning your life into some theatrical performance of secrecy. That is insecurity in another costume. Real concealment is calm, simple, intentional. It does not draw attention to itself. It just protects what matters until timing is on your side. The first rule is this: stop announcing what is still weak. If a plan is fragile, keep it protected. If a direction is still forming, let it form in private. If a move still depends on discipline, structure, and consistency, do not trade it for the temporary pleasure of being seen as someone who is about to do something big. That pleasure is expensive. The second rule is this: speak in outcomes only when outcomes are secure. Too many people speak from imagination as if imagination were execution. But the world should meet your move when it has weight, not when it only has words. Words are cheap. Weight changes behavior. People respond differently to possibility than they do to reality. Possibility invites opinion. Reality forces adjustment. So give the world less possibility and more reality. The third rule is this: separate emotional expression from strategic disclosure. You may need support. You may need reflection. You may need wise counsel. That is different from making your full intentions available to everyone around you. Choose very carefully who gets access to the inner map. Ideally, very few people, and those people should have at least three qualities: discretion, competence, and no hidden incentive to weaken your direction. Without those, proximity becomes risk. The fourth rule is this: study how people react to your growth. This will teach you more than their words ever will. Some people celebrate your wins because your wins do not threaten their identity. Others become strange the moment your trajectory implies separation. Some become distant. Some become mocking. Some become overly curious. Some begin offering advice you never asked for. Some suddenly frame your ambition as unrealistic, unhealthy, selfish, or arrogant. Notice all of it. Do not overreact. Do not confront prematurely. Just notice. Reaction patterns reveal who should know less. The fifth rule is this: keep your need hidden. The more urgently you need something, the less clearly you should display that urgency. Need invites pressure. Urgency invites exploitation. This is true in business, in romance, in negotiation, in status games. The person who appears too eager loses altitude. The person who remains measured keeps leverage. This does not mean you should be fake. It means you should not advertise your dependency. Dependency is the handle people use to turn you. The sixth rule is this: build until the move can survive contact. This may be the most important principle of all. Do not reveal the plan when it is only inspiration. Do not reveal it when it is only mood. Do not reveal it when one hard opinion could make you abandon it. Reveal it when it has enough reality that interference cannot easily kill it. That threshold changes everything, because once the move has substance, exposure no longer destroys it. At that point, visibility can even help, but visibility before substance is one of the most common self-inflicted wounds in modern life. People are addicted to premature exposure. They want to be perceived building before they have actually built. And that addiction keeps them weak, because it teaches them to seek recognition before results. Power works the other way around: results first, recognition later. The seventh rule is this: let people underestimate the speed, scale, and seriousness of your move. Underestimation is often a gift. It gives you room, it keeps eyes away, it lowers resistance, it preserves surprise. A person who looks too obvious invites preparation from others. A person who looks calm, ordinary, and unreadable often reaches the position before others fully understand what happened. That is not luck. That is disciplined concealment. This is also why the strongest builders often look quiet in the middle phase. They are not inactive. They are consolidating. They are reducing noise. They are protecting direction. They are refusing to spend energy on explaining what will be undeniable later. That is maturity. The insecure person says, "Let me tell you exactly what I'm becoming." The powerful person says very little and keeps building until becoming is visible without speech. That difference seems small. It is not. One person needs witnesses, the other needs completion, and completion is always stronger than anticipation. In the end, Never revealing your full intentions is not about becoming mysterious for effect. It is about preserving your ability to act without unnecessary resistance. It is about protecting unfinished power from early contact. It is about understanding that people interfere with what they can see more easily than what they can only sense. It is about reducing sabotage, reducing dilution, reducing pressure, reducing emotional noise. It is about keeping initiative, keeping leverage, keeping surprise, and above all, keeping ownership of your next move. Because the future weakens when too many hands touch it before it is formed. But when it is built in discipline, in privacy, in patience, and in silence, it arrives with force. Then you no longer need to persuade. You no longer need to defend the plan. You no longer need to manage reactions. The structure speaks for itself. That is when silence has done its job. That is when concealment becomes visible as power, because the strongest move is often the one the room did not fully see until it was already real. So remember this: do not reveal everything. Do not show the blueprint too early. Do not place fragile ambition in unstable hands. Do not trade strategic freedom for the temporary pleasure of being understood. Build quietly. Protect the center. Reveal with timing. And let the world meet your intentions only when they have enough reality to survive the reaction they will create. Comment. Hide your plan.